Listen to me carefully, because these words are not appearing before you by accident. I brought you here for a reason. Before this day began, before you pressed on this message, before your heart even started searching for answers, I already knew this moment would come. I have seen every silent battle you have fought. I have watched every tear you tried to hide from others. I know the thoughts that keep you awake at night. I know the pressure you feel when nobody else understands what you are carrying inside. There is something I must tell you today. The world around you is changing faster than many people realize. Hearts are becoming restless. Minds are becoming heavy. Fear is spreading quietly through homes, through families, through nations. Many people are searching for peace, but they keep looking in places that can never truly satisfy them. They run toward temporary comfort, while their spirits continue starving for truth. But I am calling you closer to me in this hour, because I do not want you to walk through the days ahead confused or afraid. My child, I have been preparing you longer than you know. Even the painful seasons carried purpose. Even the delays you complained about were shaping something deeper inside you. You thought I was ignoring your prayers when doors stayed closed, but I was protecting you from paths that would have drained your peace and wounded your spirit. You asked why certain people walked away from your life, but I saw what they could not carry into your future. Nothing has been wasted. Every disappointment taught you wisdom. Every battle built endurance. Every lonely season taught you how to depend on me instead of depending on human approval. And now you are standing at the edge of a new season. What is coming will shake many people because they built their lives on unstable foundations. They trusted money more than truth. They trusted public opinion more than wisdom. They trusted temporary security instead of eternal peace. And when those things begin to fail them, fear will rise quickly. But I do not want fear controlling your heart. I want you to remember who walks beside you. I am the same God who carried you through the nights you thought you would not survive emotionally. I am the same God who opened doors for you before. I am the same God who protected you from dangers you never even saw. Do not forget that. There will be moments ahead where the noise of the world grows louder. People will panic easily. Opinions will pull people in every direction. Some voices will sound convincing, but not every voice carries truth. This is why you must stay spiritually awake. Do not allow endless distraction to steal your peace. Spend time in stillness with me. Too many people have become spiritually exhausted because they fill their minds with fear every day and leave no room for peace. They consume anxiety constantly and then wonder why their hearts feel heavy. Guard your spirit carefully. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every distraction deserves space in your life. You are entering a season where discernment will protect you. There will be people who try to pull you away from your purpose. Some will tempt you toward compromise. Some will encourage fear instead of faith. Some will drain your strength while pretending to care for your future. Pay attention to what strengthens your spirit and what weakens it. You have asked me many times for direction, and I am answering you now. Stay close to peace. When something repeatedly steals your peace, do not ignore it. When certain environments leave your heart anxious and empty, pay attention. I guide through wisdom, clarity, and truth. I know there are moments when you feel tired of waiting. You wonder if your prayers are truly being heard. You wonder if your future will ever change. But hear me clearly today. I have not forgotten a single prayer you whispered through tears. Answers are coming. Some breakthroughs are closer than you realize. There are blessings I delayed because your character needed preparation before you could carry them correctly. If I gave certain things too early, they would have destroyed your peace instead of strengthening your purpose. Trust my timing. The waiting season has meaning. I am teaching you patience because patience protects you from careless decisions. I am teaching you wisdom because wisdom will guide you through confusion. I am teaching you endurance because endurance will help you remain steady while others fall apart emotionally. And listen carefully to this. You are stronger than you think. You survived moments that once looked impossible. You overcame battles that tried to break your spirit. You kept walking even when your heart felt exhausted. That strength did not come from yourself alone. I was carrying you even when you did not realize it. In the coming days, you must stop speaking defeat over your life. Stop telling yourself that you are weak. Stop believing the lie that your future is hopeless. Your words matter. Speak life instead of fear. Speak hope instead of despair. There are still beautiful chapters ahead of you. There are still prayers waiting to be answered. There are still doors waiting to open. There are still people whose lives will be changed because you refuse to give up. Your story is not ending in fear. Your story is not ending in failure. Your story is not over. I am still working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet see. So when fear tries to enter your thoughts, remember this moment. Remember that I warned you not to panic. Remember that I called you closer instead of pushing you away. Remember that peace is still possible, even when the world feels uncertain, and when the pressure around you increases. Do not run from me. Run toward me. Stay faithful in private. Stay humble in success. Stay wise in difficult moments. Stay patient while waiting, because the season ahead will reveal the strength that has been growing inside you all along. If these words are speaking directly into your heart today, type, "I will trust God through every season," in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And if these messages are bringing peace and strength into your heart, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this message with someone who needs encouragement today, and if you feel blessed by these words and want to help this ministry continue reaching more people, you can support through the link below. Stay until the end of this journey with me, because the next message may reveal exactly what your spirit has been needing in this season of your life. Listen closely to me today, because many people are entering a season where their hearts will become overwhelmed by uncertainty. They will wake up carrying anxiety they cannot explain. They will search for peace in distractions, in entertainment, in opinions, and in temporary comfort, but nothing around them will calm the storm inside. The world is becoming louder, faster, and more restless with each passing day, and many people are losing themselves in the noise. But I am calling you to live differently. I do not want your emotions to rise and fall with every headline, every opinion, or every fearful voice around you. I want your heart anchored in something deeper. I want you to become steady when others panic. I want you to walk in wisdom when others rush into confusion, because the days ahead will test what people truly trust. Some people trust money until money fails them. Some trust relationships until disappointment breaks their hearts. Some trust public approval until rejection leaves them empty. But those who build their lives on temporary things will always live with hidden fear, because temporary things can disappear without warning. That is why I have been teaching you not to depend on the world for your peace. My child, true peace does not come from perfect circumstances. True peace comes from knowing you are not walking through life alone. There were moments in your past when you thought everything was falling apart, yet somehow you survived. There were nights you cried yourself to sleep, believing nothing would ever improve. Yet I carried you through those moments, one step at a time. There were disappointments that almost broke your confidence, yet you are still standing today. Do not forget how far you have already come. Sometimes you focus so much on what is still missing that you forget the strength you already gained through survival. You have grown more than you realize. The pressure you faced built endurance inside you. The loneliness taught you how to seek me more deeply. The closed doors taught you discernment. Nothing was wasted. Even your waiting season had purpose. I know you often become frustrated when answers do not arrive quickly. You want immediate clarity. You want immediate breakthrough. You want immediate change. But there are blessings that require preparation before they arrive. Some doors cannot open until your spirit becomes mature enough to carry what is behind them. Trust my timing even when you do not understand it. The world teaches people to rush everything. It teaches them to chase success quickly, relationships quickly, and decisions quickly. But rushing without wisdom creates unnecessary pain. Many people are suffering today because they moved without seeking peace first. Slow down enough to hear my direction. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every person belongs in your future. Not every open door leads to purpose. Discernment will protect your life in this season. There will be moments where people pressure you to follow the crowd. They will expect you to think the way everyone else thinks. They will expect you to react emotionally instead of wisely. But I am asking you to become spiritually strong enough to stand apart when necessary. Do not fear being different. The crowd is not always right. Some people follow trends while ignoring truth. Some people chase attention while neglecting peace. Some people appear successful publicly while falling apart privately. Do not compare your life to appearances. You do not see the hidden struggles behind every smile. Focus on protecting your inner peace instead of impressing people who do not truly understand your journey. And hear me carefully now. Stop carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. You spend too much time worrying about things outside your control. You replay conversations repeatedly. You imagine worst-case scenarios before they even happen. You drain your own strength by living in constant fear about tomorrow. But fear cannot add peace to your future. Fear only steals strength from your present. I want you to release what you cannot control and focus on what you can control. You can control your attitude. You can control your words. You can control whether you feed fear or feed faith daily. Protect your mind carefully. What you repeatedly listen to will shape your spirit. If you constantly fill yourself with negativity, anxiety will grow stronger. If you constantly surround yourself with drama, confusion will increase. If you constantly compare your life with others, gratitude will disappear. Be intentional about what enters your heart. Spend more time building your spirit than entertaining distractions. There are moments ahead where you will need emotional strength, and emotional strength is built through daily discipline. A peaceful mind does not happen accidentally. Peace grows when you consistently choose wisdom over panic. And I know there are moments when you feel emotionally tired. You smile around others while silently fighting battles inside your thoughts. Sometimes you feel pressure to appear strong, even when your heart feels exhausted. But you do not have to pretend with me. I already know where you feel weak. I already know where fear tries to enter your mind. I already know the prayers you are afraid to say out loud. Bring those burdens to me instead of carrying them alone. You were never meant to fight every battle by yourself. There are also people around you right now who need encouragement more than you realize. Some are silently losing hope. Some are carrying pain. They hide behind laughter. This is why your words matter so much. Speak life. Speak kindness. Speak hope. You never know when one moment of encouragement may stop someone from giving up completely. And remember this carefully. Your peace will become a testimony to others. When people see you remaining calm during difficult seasons, they will notice something different about you. When others panic, but you remain steady, your life will point them towards something greater than fear. That is why I am teaching you now before greater pressure arrives. I am preparing your heart to remain grounded while the world becomes unstable around you. So stop doubting whether I am with you. Stop believing the lie that your future is hopeless. Stop allowing fear to speak louder than truth. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. And you are not walking into the future alone. There are still blessings ahead. There are still breakthroughs ahead. There are still prayers waiting to be answered in ways you cannot yet imagine. If this message is strengthening your spirit today, type, "My peace will not be stolen," in the comments below and declare it over your life with faith. And continue watching until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal the hidden battle that has been quietly stealing strength from so many people without them even realizing it. Hear me carefully today, because one of the greatest battles in this season is not happening around you. It is happening inside your mind. Many people believe the enemy only works through destruction, But often, he works through distraction first. If he can keep your thoughts overwhelmed, your spirit exhausted, and your attention divided, he can slowly weaken your peace without you even realizing it. That is why so many people feel restless lately. Their minds never truly rest. Their hearts never truly become still. Their thoughts constantly race from one fear to another. They wake up anxious. They sleep worried. They carry emotional heaviness everywhere they go. And little by little, they lose the ability to hear my voice clearly because the noise around them becomes louder than the truth inside them. But I am calling you into a different way of living. My child, you cannot allow every voice to enter your spirit. You cannot feed your mind endless fear and expect peace to remain strong inside you. You cannot constantly absorb negativity and expect your heart to stay hopeful. What you repeatedly listen to will eventually shape how you think. What you repeatedly focus on will influence how you live. What you repeatedly entertain will slowly build roots inside your spirit. This is why you must protect your attention carefully. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every opinion deserves space in your mind. Some people are emotionally exhausted today because they have allowed too much noise into their hearts. They carry everybody's problems. They absorb everybody's negativity. They spend hours feeding fear, comparison, anger, and distraction, then wonder why they feel spiritually weak. You were not created to live mentally drained every day. I want you to slow down. I want you to breathe again. I want you to return to peace. There are moments where you become so distracted by the future that you stop appreciating the strength I am building in you right now. You constantly ask, what will happen next, while ignoring the lessons I am teaching you today. But preparation matters. The future you are praying for requires wisdom to sustain it. If your mind remains undisciplined, even blessings can become burdens. That is why I have been teaching you patience. That is why some prayers took longer than you expected. I was strengthening your spirit before releasing greater responsibility into your hands. And listen carefully to this. Not every delay is rejection. Sometimes I delay things because I am protecting you from unnecessary pain. Sometimes I delay things because the timing around you is not ready yet. Sometimes I delay things because the person you are becoming matters more than the thing you are asking for. Trust the process, even when you do not fully understand it. I know there are moments when loneliness tries to convince you that you are forgotten. There are moments where silence makes you wonder if I am still working. But silence does not mean absence. I am still moving in places you cannot see. Even now, while you worry, I am arranging things behind the scenes. Even now, while you question the future, I am opening doors at the right time. Even now, while you feel uncertain, I am protecting you from paths that would have harmed you. Stop assuming nothing is happening just because you cannot see immediate results. Growth often happens quietly before it becomes visible. A seed grows beneath the ground long before anyone sees evidence above the surface. And in the same way, I have been growing strength inside you quietly. The pain you survived made you wiser. The heartbreak you endured made you stronger. The disappointments you faced taught you discernment. You are not the same person you were before those battles, but now you must become careful about what controls your focus. Some people spend more time feeding fear than feeding faith. They spend more time worrying than praying. They spend more time comparing than growing. That lifestyle slowly drains the soul. You must learn how to disconnect from unnecessary noise sometimes. You do not need to know every opinion. You do not need to carry every burden. You do not need to respond to every criticism. Peace grows where wisdom is protected. And I also want you to stop measuring your value by human approval. Too many people are emotionally broken because they constantly seek validation from people who are empty themselves. They change who they are just to be accepted by crowds that will never truly satisfy their hearts. Do not lose yourself trying to impress people. The world changes quickly. Opinions change quickly. but truth remains steady. You do not need everyone to understand your journey. You do not need everyone to agree with your path. You only need the courage to keep walking in wisdom. There are still beautiful things ahead of you. There are still moments of healing ahead. There are still breakthroughs waiting for the right season. But you must stop allowing fear and distraction to steal the strength you need for the next chapter of your life. Protect your mornings. Protect your thoughts. Protect your peace. Spend more time building your spirit than feeding anxiety. Because the days ahead will require emotional discipline. Many people will become overwhelmed because they never learned how to guard their minds. But I am teaching you now so you can remain steady later. You are stronger than your fears. You are stronger than your past. You are stronger than the voices trying to convince you to give up. And whenever your thoughts become heavy, return to me. Bring me the burdens you cannot carry alone. I never asked you to fight every battle with your own strength. I am still your refuge. I am still your peace. I am still your protector, and I will continue guiding you one step at a time. If this message is speaking directly into your spirit today, type, "I choose peace over distraction," in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And keep watching until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal why pressure and difficult seasons have actually been preparing you for something greater than you imagined. Listen to me carefully, because pressure has a way of revealing what people truly trust. When life feels comfortable, many say they have faith. When everything seems stable, many speak confidently about trust and peace. But when uncertainty suddenly enters their lives, fear begins exposing the condition of their hearts. That is why so many people collapse emotionally when pressure rises. They built their confidence on temporary things. They trusted situations instead of truth. They trusted comfort instead of strength. And when those comforts begin to shake, panic quickly takes over their thoughts. But I do not want fear to rule your life. I have been preparing you to stand differently. My child, difficult seasons are not always punishment. Sometimes pressure is part of preparation. Sometimes the very thing you are trying to escape is developing the strength you will need for the future you are praying for. A tree without storms grows weak roots. A person without challenges often remains spiritually immature. That is why every battle you survived carried hidden purpose. You did not understand it while you were crying. You did not understand it while you were waiting. You did not understand it while doors kept closing. But now you are beginning to see that those moments were shaping endurance inside you. There were nights you felt emotionally exhausted. Yet you still woke up and kept moving forward. There were disappointments that made you question yourself, yet you refused to completely give up. There were seasons where you felt alone, yet somehow you survived them. Do not overlook how much strength has already grown inside you. Many people constantly focus on what they still lack while ignoring how far they have already come. They speak defeat over themselves daily. They repeat negative thoughts until hopelessness becomes normal. But I want you to stop speaking weakness over your future. Your words matter more than you realize. What you repeatedly say about yourself slowly shapes your mindset. If you constantly declare failure, your confidence weakens. If you constantly speak fear, anxiety grows stronger. But when you choose hope, even during difficulty, strength begins rising again inside you. You must learn to speak life over your situation before you see visible change. And hear me clearly today, your current pressure is not the final chapter of your story. The season you are in now will not last forever. Some of you feel emotionally tired because you have been carrying responsibilities silently for too long. You smile around others while privately fighting battles in your mind. You encourage everyone else while secretly feeling empty yourself. But I see the weight you carry. I see the tears nobody else notices. I see the stress you hide behind silence. I see the fear you try to bury deep inside your heart. And I am telling you now that you do not have to carry everything alone anymore. Bring your worries to me instead of letting them consume your thoughts every night. Too many people are slowly destroying their peace by trying to control things that only I can handle. Release the need to control every outcome. Some answers will come slowly. Some situations will require patience. Some doors will only open at the right time. But worrying constantly will not speed up your breakthrough. It will only drain your strength before the battle even arrives. You are entering a season where emotional discipline will matter greatly. Many people will react emotionally to everything happening around them. Anger will rise quickly. Fear will spread quickly. Confusion will spread through conversations, through families, through communities. But I want you to remain steady. Do not allow chaos around you to create chaos within you. There is power in calmness. There is wisdom in patience. There is strength in self-control. Sometimes the strongest response is silence. Sometimes the wisest decision is waiting before reacting. Sometimes peace protects you more than proving yourself ever could. You do not need to win every argument. You do not need everyone to agree with you. You do not need constant validation from people who cannot see what I am building in your life. Your assignment is not to impress everyone. Your assignment is to remain faithful. And I also want you to understand something important about pressure. Pressure often reveals hidden character. When life becomes difficult, people show who they truly are. Some become bitter, some become selfish, some become hopeless. But others become stronger, wiser, kinder, and more dependent on me. Choose wisely who you become during hardship. Do not let pain turn your heart cold. Do not let disappointment destroy your ability to trust. Do not let betrayal convince you that love no longer exists. You are not called to live bitter. You are called to live healed. And healing begins when you stop allowing the past to control your future. I know there are memories that still hurt you. I know there are moments you replay inside your mind, wishing things had happened differently. But you cannot move into a new season while constantly living inside old pain. Release what is behind you. The people who hurt you do not deserve control over your future peace. The mistakes you made do not define your entire life. The failures you experienced are not the end of your story. There is still purpose ahead of you. There are still beautiful moments waiting for you. There are still blessings that have not arrived yet. There are still prayers that will be answered in ways greater than you expected. But you must keep walking forward, even when progress feels slow, even when emotions feel heavy, even when uncertainty tries to shake your confidence, because strength is not built by quitting when things become difficult. Strength grows when you continue trusting through pressure. And I promise you this, the same God who carried you through your past battles will also carry you through the future. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. And you are not fighting alone. If this message is strengthening your heart today, type, "I will stand strong through the storm" in the comments below and speak it over your life with faith. And continue watching until the very end of this journey, because the next message may reveal why some closed doors and painful endings were actually protecting your future instead of destroying it. Listen to me carefully today, because some of the pain you experienced was not meant to destroy you. Some endings happened because I was protecting your future even when you could not understand it in the moment. There are seasons where I bless people by adding things into their lives, and there are seasons where I bless them by removing things they were never meant to carry forward. But many people misunderstand this process. When relationships end, they immediately assume they were abandoned. When doors close, they immediately assume they failed. When plans change unexpectedly, they immediately believe their future is ruined. But what if the closed door was protection? What if the delay was mercy? What if the ending was preparation for something healthier, stronger, and more aligned with your purpose? My child, not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Some things must end so new things can begin. Some people must leave because they cannot go where I am taking you. Some habits must break because they are quietly weakening your spirit. Some distractions must disappear because they are stealing time from your calling. Yet many people fight to keep things I am asking them to release. They hold on to unhealthy relationships because they fear loneliness. They hold on to bitterness because they fear vulnerability. They hold on to old identities because change feels uncomfortable. But you cannot step fully into a new season while clinging tightly to what no longer belongs in your life. I know letting go is painful sometimes. I know there are moments where you begged me to restore things that I was trying to remove. I know there were nights where you cried over people who walked away. I know you questioned your value when certain doors closed unexpectedly. But hear me clearly today. Your worth was never dependent on who stayed or who left. People can reject you and still not change your purpose. A closed opportunity does not cancel your destiny. A painful ending does not mean your future is hopeless. Stop measuring your value by temporary situations. Your identity is deeper than your disappointments, and I need you to understand something important about growth. Growth often requires separation. When I begin preparing someone for greater purpose, I often remove what continuously pulls them backward. Some environments weaken your peace. Some conversations drain your spirit. Some people constantly feed fear, negativity, temptation, or confusion into your life. Not everyone who enters your life is assigned to stay permanently. Some people are lessons. Some are temporary assignments. Some are distractions. And some are divine connections. Discernment will help you recognize the difference. Pay attention to what happens to your spirit around certain people. Some relationships strengthen your faith, encourage your growth, and inspire peace. Others leave you emotionally exhausted, anxious, distracted, or distant from truth. Do not ignore what your spirit keeps warning you about. I know there are moments where loneliness tempts you to reconnect with people who no longer belong in your future. But loneliness should never make you settle for relationships that destroy your peace. You deserve relationships that strengthen your spirit, not relationships that constantly wound your heart. And I also want you to stop romanticizing the past. Some people keep reopening doors I already closed because they are addicted to familiarity. They return to old habits, old mindsets, old environments, and old relationships simply because those things feel comfortable. But comfort is not always safety. There are things in your past that cannot grow with your future. That is why I have been teaching you how to release things without bitterness. You do not have to hate people to let them go. You do not have to carry anger in order to move forward. Some chapters simply end because their purpose is complete. Trust me enough to release what I remove. And hear me carefully now. When I remove something, I never do it carelessly. I see what you cannot see. I know what is ahead. I understand the hidden consequences behind paths you wanted to follow. There were situations you cried over losing that later would have broken your peace completely. There were people you chased who secretly carried motives that would have damaged your spirit. There were opportunities you desperately wanted that would have distracted you from your true assignment. But because you only saw the present moment, you mistook protection for rejection. One day, you will understand why certain things had to end. One day you will look back and thank me for the prayers I did not answer the way you expected. Because what I have planned for you requires emotional maturity, wisdom, and healthier foundations. And this is also why I have been teaching you patience during loneliness. Too many people rush into unhealthy situations simply because they are afraid of waiting. They fear silence so much that they surround themselves with the wrong voices. They fear being alone so much that they tolerate disrespect, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. But waiting with peace is better than forcing what destroys your spirit. You are not behind because you are waiting. You are not failing because your life looks different from others. You are not forgotten because certain answers have not arrived yet. I am still writing your story carefully. There are people I am preparing to bring into your life who will strengthen your faith instead of draining it. There are opportunities ahead that will align with your purpose instead of distracting you from it. There are blessings coming that will not require you to betray your peace in order to receive them. But first, you must stop clinging to what no longer fits where you are going. And I know letting go requires courage. It takes courage to walk away from unhealthy patterns. It takes courage to release relationships that weaken your spirit. It takes courage to trust me when the future feels uncertain. But every step of obedience creates room for something greater. Do not fear empty spaces in your life. Sometimes empty spaces are where healing begins. Sometimes silence is where clarity grows. Sometimes endings create the very freedom needed for your next chapter to begin. And remember this carefully. I do not remove things to leave you empty. I remove things to prepare you for better. So stop grieving forever over doors I already closed. Stop begging for things that were destroying your peace. Stop chasing people who continuously pull you away from wisdom. Your future is too valuable to stay trapped in what no longer belongs to your destiny. Lift your head again. Trust me again. Hope again. Because there are still beautiful things ahead of you. If this message spoke directly into your heart today, type "I trust God's plan for my future" in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And if these messages are helping strengthen your faith and bring peace into your heart, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this message with someone who needs encouragement today, and if you feel led to support this ministry, you can use the link below to help us continue spreading hope to more lives around the world. Stay until the end of this journey with me, because the next message may reveal why the waiting season has been preparing you for blessings greater than you imagined. Listen to me carefully today, because some of the strongest people are not the loudest ones. Some of the deepest faith is built quietly where nobody else can see it. The world often celebrates noise, attention, and appearance, but true strength is usually developed in hidden places. Many people want instant victories, public recognition, and visible success, but they do not understand the value of quiet endurance. They do not understand the power of remaining faithful when nobody applauds them. They do not understand the growth that happens during unseen battles. But I have been watching your private struggles. I saw the moments you kept going, even when your heart felt tired. I saw the prayers you whispered when nobody else knew you were hurting. I saw the times you wanted to quit, but still chose to stand up one more time. That quiet faith matters more than you realize. My child, there are seasons where it feels like nothing is changing, yet deep transformation is taking place inside you. The world teaches people to measure progress only by visible results, but I often work beneath the surface, before anything becomes visible. A seed grows in darkness before it breaks through the ground. Roots develop quietly before branches become strong. And in the same way, I have been strengthening your spirit in places nobody else can see. Do not become discouraged simply because your growth is not immediately visible. Some of the greatest changes in your life are happening internally first. I know there are moments where you feel overlooked. You see others moving ahead quickly while you continue waiting. You wonder why your journey feels slower. You question whether your prayers are truly making a difference. But hear me carefully. Slow growth is still growth. Do not compare your timing to someone else's path. Many people rush ahead without building strong foundations. They chase quick success, but neglect wisdom. They pursue attention, but ignore character. And later, when pressure rises, everything collapses because it was built too quickly. But I have been building your life carefully. The waiting season has not been empty. The quiet season has not been meaningless. The hidden season, I was teaching you how to trust me without depending on constant signs. I was teaching you how to remain faithful without needing immediate rewards. I was teaching you how to develop inner peace instead of chasing external validation. And listen closely to this. Your private habits shape your future more than public moments ever will. What you do consistently in secret matters deeply. The way you think when nobody is watching matters. The words you speak over yourself matter. The choices you make during lonely moments matter. Because character is not built publicly first. Character is built privately long before others ever see the results. That is why quiet faith is powerful. It continues believing even during silence. It continues praying even during waiting. It continues trusting even during uncertainty. And I know there are moments where doubt tries to enter your mind. You wonder whether you are truly strong enough for what lies ahead. You question whether you are prepared for the future. But you are stronger than you think. You survived seasons that once felt impossible. You overcame heartbreak that tried to break your confidence. You endured battles that forced you to grow emotionally. Do not ignore the strength that already exists inside you. Every difficult season taught you something valuable. Every disappointment increased your wisdom. Every delay deepened your patience. Nothing was wasted. Even the moments you thought were breaking, you were quietly building resilience inside your spirit. And I also want you to stop seeking approval from people who cannot see your full journey. Too many people destroy their peace trying to impress others. They change who they are to fit expectations that were never meant for them. But peace cannot grow where people constantly pretend. You do not need to perform for love. You do not need to exhaust yourself trying to prove your worth. You do not need to become someone else to be valuable. The right people will recognize your heart without requiring you to betray yourself. That is why I want you to become confident in quiet faithfulness. Continue growing even when nobody notices. Continue praying even when answers seem delayed. Continue choosing wisdom even when others choose shortcuts. Because the life I am building in you is meant to last. And hear me carefully now. There are blessings coming that require emotional maturity to sustain them. If I gave some people everything immediately, they would lose themselves in pride, distraction, or carelessness. But I care more about your long-term peace than temporary excitement. So when you feel frustrated by waiting, remember this: preparation is protection. I am preparing you for opportunities you cannot fully see yet. I am strengthening your heart for responsibilities greater than your current season. I am building wisdom inside you, so future blessings do not destroy your peace. Trust the process even when it feels slow. You are not forgotten. You are not falling behind. And you are not wasting your life simply because your progress looks different from others. Some of the most beautiful things take time to develop properly. Do not allow impatience to steal your gratitude. There are still prayers being answered behind the scenes. There are still doors quietly opening in your future. There are still people you will help because of the strength you gained during hidden battles. And one day, you will look back and realize that the quiet seasons taught you lessons success alone never could. So remain faithful where you are right now. Stay humble, stay patient, stay teachable. Because quiet faith today is preparing you for stronger seasons tomorrow. If this message is speaking deeply into your heart today, type, "My faith will remain strong," in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And stay until the very end of this journey, because the next message may reveal why some of your longest delays were actually protecting blessings that needed the right timing to arrive. Listen to me carefully today, because many people are becoming discouraged in seasons of waiting. They pray, they hope, they ask for change, and when answers do not appear quickly, they begin believing, "I have forgotten them." Their hearts grow tired. Their faith becomes weak. Their thoughts become filled with frustration and disappointment. But I need you to understand something deeply. Just because something has not happened yet does not mean it will never happen. Delay is not always denial. There are prayers you cried over that I heard immediately. There are answers already moving toward your life, even now. There are doors being prepared that you cannot yet see from where you stand. But timing matters more than many people realize. My child, if certain blessings arrive too early, they would damage you instead of helping you. Some opportunities require wisdom before they can be sustained. Some relationships require healing before they can become healthy. Some assignments require spiritual maturity before they can be carried correctly. This is why waiting seasons exist. But people often misunderstand waiting. They think waiting means nothing is happening. They think silence means abandonment. They think delay means rejection. Yet some of the greatest work I do happens quietly behind the scenes. When a farmer plants a seed, he does not stand over the soil demanding immediate results. He understands growth takes time. Roots develop before fruit appears. Strength forms before beauty becomes visible. And I have been developing roots inside you. The waiting season has been building patience. The waiting season has been building wisdom. The waiting season has been building endurance. You asked me for a stronger life, but strength cannot grow without process. And hear me carefully now. Impatience has destroyed many blessings before they fully arrived. Some people become so desperate for quick answers that they settle for the wrong relationships. Some become so frustrated by delay that they abandon wisdom completely. Some become so tired of waiting that they force doors open that later bring pain into their lives. But I am asking you to trust me enough to wait for what is right instead of chasing what is immediate. The enemy often uses impatience to create unnecessary suffering. He whispers lies into tired hearts. He tells people they are forgotten. He convinces them they must rush or they will miss their future. But what I have prepared for you will not require panic to receive it. You do not have to force what is truly meant for your life. I know there are moments where you feel emotionally exhausted from hoping. You prayed for healing, yet pain still lingers. You prayed for change, yet certain situations remain difficult. You prayed for direction, yet clarity feels slow. And during those moments, doubt tries to enter your thoughts. But do not allow temporary silence to convince you that I stopped working. Even now, while you wait, I am arranging things you cannot see. Even now, while you question the future, I am protecting you from paths that would have harmed you. Even now, while you feel uncertain, I am strengthening your heart for what lies ahead. Nothing about your journey has been random. The delays carried purpose too. There were moments when you begged for certain things to happen quickly. But if I had answered immediately, you would not have been emotionally prepared for the responsibility attached to them. Some people pray for blessings while remaining emotionally unstable. Some pray for purpose while refusing discipline. Some pray for healthy relationships while still carrying unhealthy patterns. But I care too much about your future to release certain things before your heart is ready. That is why growth often happens slowly. Real healing takes time. Real wisdom takes time. Real transformation takes time. And I need you to stop comparing your timeline with everyone around you. Comparison steals gratitude and creates unnecessary frustration. Some people appear successful publicly while privately falling apart emotionally. Some rush into things they are not prepared for simply because they fear being left behind. But you are not behind. Your journey has its own timing. Your life has its own assignment. Your growth has its own process. Trust the pace I am leading you through. There are things happening inside you during this waiting season that will become valuable later. You are learning discernment. You are learning patience. You are learning how to depend on peace instead of emotions. These lessons matter more than you realize, because when the blessing finally arrives, you will carry it differently than before. You will value peace more deeply. You will make wiser decisions. You will stop chasing temporary things. You will recognize the importance of emotional stability. The waiting season is not empty if growth is happening inside you. And I know there are days where loneliness becomes heavy. You watch others moving forward while you remain in the same place. You wonder whether your breakthrough will ever come. But hear me carefully today. Your future has not been canceled. There are still beautiful moments ahead of you. There are still doors waiting to open at the right time. There are still answers approaching that will surprise you. Do not give up simply because the process feels longer than expected. Some miracles arrive suddenly after long seasons of silence. One moment can change everything. One opportunity can shift your direction. One answered prayer can restore years of hope. Stay faithful during the waiting. Continue growing while you wait. Continue praying while you wait. Continue healing while you wait. Continue trusting while you wait. Because when the right season finally arrives, you will understand why the process took longer than you wanted. And you will realize that the delays were not punishment. They were preparation. So stop calling yourself forgotten. Stop believing the lie that nothing good is coming. Stop allowing impatience to steal your peace. I am still writing your story carefully, and what I prepare slowly often lasts longer than what people rush into carelessly. If this message is strengthening your spirit today, type, "I trust God's timing," in the comments below, and declare it boldly over your future. And continue watching until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal how fear quietly enters people's hearts and steals peace before they even realize what is happening. Listen to me carefully today, because fear has been quietly entering many hearts without people even realizing it. It does not always arrive suddenly. Sometimes it grows slowly through constant worry, endless negativity, painful memories, and exhausting thoughts about the future. Little by little, fear begins stealing peace, draining strength, and weakening hope. That is why so many people feel emotionally tired lately. Their minds are overwhelmed, their hearts are restless, their thoughts constantly imagine worst-case scenarios. They wake up worried about tomorrow before even appreciating today. They spend hours feeding anxiety and only moments feeding their spirit. And over time, fear becomes so familiar that they start believing it is normal to live without peace. But I never created you to live controlled by fear. My child, fear will always try to make your problems appear bigger than your faith. It whispers lies into your thoughts late at night. It tells you nothing will improve. It tells you your future is hopeless. It tells you you are too weak, too broken, too late, or too damaged to recover. But fear is not truth. Fear speaks loudly, but truth remains stronger. You must learn how to recognize when fear is trying to control your thinking. Fear creates panic. Fear rushes decisions. Fear weakens wisdom. Fear causes people to react emotionally instead of peacefully. That is why you must guard your heart carefully in this season. Not every thought deserves your agreement. Some thoughts enter your mind simply to drain your peace. If you constantly entertain fearful thinking, anxiety will grow stronger. But if you learn to replace fear with truth, your spirit becomes stronger again. You cannot stop every fearful thought from appearing, but you can choose whether you allow it to stay. Too many people build entire lifestyles around fear without realizing it. They avoid opportunities because fear tells them they will fail. They avoid healing because fear reminds them of past pain. They avoid trusting again because fear keeps replaying old disappointments. And slowly, fear begins stealing the future they were meant to walk into. But I am calling you to live differently. You cannot move into a new season while constantly expecting disaster. You cannot grow while feeding hopelessness every day. You cannot hear my direction clearly while your mind is consumed by panic. That is why I want you to spend less time listening to fear and more time rebuilding your spirit. Protect what enters your heart. Some people constantly surround themselves with negativity and then wonder why they feel emotionally drained. They consume endless bad news, endless arguments, endless comparison, endless criticism, and endless fear. Then they expect peace to remain strong inside them. But peace must be protected intentionally. Spend time in stillness again. Spend time praying again. Spend time breathing deeply instead of rushing constantly. You do not need to carry every burden the world places before you. And hear me carefully now. Stop trying to control everything. Many fears are rooted in the desire to control outcomes. People become anxious because they cannot predict the future. They want guarantees before taking steps forward. They want certainty before trusting the process. But faith grows when you continue walking, even without having every answer. I know uncertainty feels uncomfortable. I know waiting can feel exhausting. I know there are moments where your thoughts become heavy with questions. But you are not walking alone through uncertainty. I am still guiding you. I am still protecting you. I am still opening and closing doors according to what will bring peace into your future. There were moments in your past where fear convinced you that you would never recover. Yet here you are today. There were seasons where anxiety told you your life would fall apart completely, yet somehow you survived. Do not forget that. Fear predicted destruction many times before, but I carried you through every season. And I will continue carrying you now. But you must stop feeding fear more than faith. Speak hope over your future. Speak life over your situation. Speak peace over your thoughts. Your words carry power. When you constantly repeat negative thoughts, your spirit becomes weaker. But when you choose to declare truth even during difficult moments, strength begins rising inside you again. Stop calling yourself hopeless. Stop declaring defeat over your future. Stop assuming every delay means disaster. You do not know how many blessings are still being prepared behind the scenes. And I also want you to understand that fear often grows strongest when people isolate themselves emotionally. They stay trapped inside their thoughts without releasing the weight they carry. They pretend to be strong publicly while privately falling apart mentally. But you do not have to hide your struggles from me. Bring your worries to me honestly. Bring your fears to me honestly. Bring your exhaustion to me honestly. I already know where your heart feels weak. And I am not asking you to pretend you never feel afraid. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to trust me even while fear tries to speak. That is what strength truly looks like. Some battles will not be won through panic. Some victories will come through patience. Some breakthroughs will arrive because you refuse to give up when fear told you to quit. You are stronger than your anxiety. You are stronger than your past disappointments. You are stronger than the fear trying to convince you that your future is hopeless. Because I am still walking beside you. And listen carefully to this promise. Fear will not have the final word over your life. There are still good things ahead of you. There are still moments of healing ahead. There are still prayers waiting to be answered. Do not allow fear to rob you of the peace available to you right now. Choose faith again. Choose hope again. Choose peace again, even when uncertainty surrounds you. Because peace is not found in perfect circumstances. Peace is found in knowing you are held by someone greater than your fears. If this message is speaking directly into your heart today, type "fear will not control my life" in the comments below and declare it boldly over your future. And stay until the end of this journey with me, because the next message may reveal how some of your hardest seasons have secretly been preparing blessings and strength you never expected. Listen to me carefully today, because some of the seasons you called painful were actually preparing blessings you could not yet understand. Many people believe that every difficult moment means they are abandoned, forgotten, or moving in the wrong direction. But sometimes the hardest seasons carry the deepest transformation. Pain has a way of revealing what comfort often hides. When everything feels easy, people rarely examine their hearts deeply. They become distracted. They depend on temporary things. They stop growing. But when life becomes difficult, hidden weaknesses rise to the surface. Priorities become clearer. Hearts become more honest. And suddenly people begin searching for truth more seriously than before. That is why some of your hardest seasons changed you so deeply. My child, I know there were moments when you questioned why certain battles lasted so long. You prayed for relief. You prayed for answers. You prayed for immediate breakthrough. Yet instead of instant change, you found yourself walking through long seasons of stretching, waiting, and emotional exhaustion. But even there, I was working. You thought the struggle was only breaking you, but it was also building you. You thought the pressure was only hurting you, but it was strengthening your spirit. You thought the delay was punishment, but it was preparation. Nothing you survived was meaningless. Every painful experience taught you something valuable. Every disappointment increased your wisdom. Every closed door redirected your path. Every lonely season deepened your understanding of peace. And hear me carefully now. Some blessings can only grow inside people who have experienced hardship. Compassion grows through pain. Wisdom grows through mistakes. Strength grows through endurance. Patience grows through waiting. That is why I do not waste difficult seasons. I know there were times where you felt emotionally tired from carrying so much weight. You smiled around others while silently fighting battles inside your mind. There were moments you felt misunderstood. Moments you felt disappointed by people you trusted. Moments you questioned whether life would ever feel lighter again. But those seasons were revealing your resilience. You survived days you once thought would destroy you completely. You endured heartbreaks that almost convinced you to give up. You walked through confusion and still kept moving forward. Do not underestimate the strength that has already grown inside you because of what you survived. Some people never develop emotional maturity because they run from every difficult moment. They avoid growth because growth feels uncomfortable. They seek comfort at all costs, even if comfort keeps them spiritually weak. But I have been preparing you for something deeper, and this is why you must stop seeing every hard season as proof that your future is ruined. Some storms clear old paths so new ones can open. Some battles remove distractions from your life. Some disappointments protect you from things that would have harmed your peace later. One day you will look back and understand why certain prayers were answered differently than you expected, because what I was building inside you mattered more than temporary comfort. I also want you to stop believing the lie that your painful experiences disqualify you from purpose. Some people feel ashamed of their struggles. They think their failures, mistakes, or emotional wounds make them less valuable. But often, the people who help others most deeply are the ones who know what pain feels like personally. Your story still carries purpose. The tears you cried were not wasted. The lessons you learned still matter. The battles you survived still carry value. There are people you will encourage one day simply because you refuse to quit during your own difficult season. And hear this clearly: your pain does not have to become your identity. Too many people remain trapped in old wounds because they continue reliving painful moments every day. They allow the past to control their thoughts, their decisions, and their expectations for the future. But healing begins when you stop building your future around old pain. Yes, the past hurt you. Yes, certain people disappointed you. Yes, some seasons exhausted your spirit. But you are not called to live trapped inside old suffering forever. There is still life ahead of you. There is still joy ahead of you. There is still healing ahead of you. Do not let painful memories convince you that beautiful things can no longer happen. And I know there are moments where you feel tired of being strong. You wonder how much longer you must keep fighting emotionally. Sometimes you wish someone else could fully understand the weight you carry. But I understand it completely. I know the battles inside your thoughts. I know the exhaustion you hide from others. I know the silent fears you rarely speak aloud, and I am telling you now that your hard season will not last forever. Some chapters are difficult because they are shaping you for the next level of your life. Athletes grow stronger through resistance. Gold becomes purer through fire, and your spirit has been developing strength through endurance. Do not quit during the process. The breakthrough often comes after the season that almost convince people to give up. And there are still breakthroughs ahead for you. There are still moments where peace will return more deeply than before. There are still opportunities that will surprise you. There are still prayers waiting to be answered in the right season. But first, you must stop viewing every difficult moment as proof that nothing good is coming. Even now, hidden blessings are growing through this season. You are becoming wiser. You are becoming stronger. You are becoming more discerning. You are becoming less dependent on temporary things and more rooted in truth. And that transformation will matter greatly in the future ahead of you. One day you will realize that some of the hardest moments of your life were also some of the most important moments of your growth. So do not lose hope now. Keep moving forward. Keep rebuilding your peace. Keep trusting even when progress feels slow, because I am still turning painful seasons into preparation for something greater. If this message is strengthening your heart today, type, "My hard season will produce purpose," in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And continue watching until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal why some sudden changes and painful endings were actually creating space for the new season I have been preparing for you. Listen to me carefully today, because there are moments in life when sudden changes feel painful, confusing, and unfair. Doors close unexpectedly. Relationships shift without warning. Plans you carefully built suddenly fall apart. And during those moments, many people immediately assume everything is going wrong. But sometimes what feels like loss is actually protection. Sometimes what feels like an ending is really the beginning of freedom. Sometimes what feels like rejection is actually redirection. Sometimes what leaves your life was never meant to continue into your future. My child, I need you to understand this deeply. Not every connection is healthy for your spirit. Not every opportunity is aligned with your purpose. Not every path that looks attractive will lead you toward peace. That is why there are seasons where I begin removing things that no longer fit where I am taking you. And I know this process can hurt. There are people you love deeply who could not continue into your next season. There are habits you became comfortable with that quietly weakened your growth. There are environments that once felt familiar but slowly drained your peace. Yet instead of recognizing the danger, you tried to hold on to them because they felt safe. But comfort is not always protection. Some things feel familiar while secretly destroying your future. That is why you must trust me, even when you do not immediately understand why changes are happening around you. I see what you cannot see. I know the conversations happening behind closed doors. I know the hidden motives in people's hearts. I know the future consequences attached to certain decisions. And because I love you, I will not always allow you to keep everything you ask for. There were opportunities you cried over losing that later would have brought stress, confusion, and emotional exhaustion into your life. There were people you chased who secretly would have distracted you from your purpose. There were paths you desperately wanted that would have damaged your peace later. But because you only saw the present moment, you mistook protection for punishment. One day you will understand why certain doors had to close. One day you will realize that some endings saved you from future pain you never saw coming. And listen carefully to this. You cannot carry old baggage into a new season. Some people want healing while refusing to release what keeps hurting them. Some want peace while continuing unhealthy patterns. Some want a better future while clinging tightly to what destroyed their past. But transformation requires release. You cannot become who you are meant to become while staying attached to everything that weakens your spirit. That is why I have been asking you to let go of certain habits, relationships, and mindsets, not to leave you empty, not to punish you, but to create room for healthier things to grow. And I know letting go feels uncomfortable sometimes. You fear loneliness. You fear uncertainty. You fear the empty space created after something leaves your life. But empty spaces are often where healing begins. Silence can become the place where clarity grows. Separation can become the place where strength returns. Stillness can become the place where your heart finally learns peace again. Do not fear the season of rebuilding. There are people around you right now who are emotionally exhausted because they refuse to release what continuously hurts them. They revisit painful situations repeatedly. They reopen doors I already closed. They reconnect with people who repeatedly damage their peace, and then they wonder why their hearts remain heavy. But I am calling you higher than that. Stop chasing what keeps draining your spirit. You deserve relationships that strengthen your peace, not relationships that constantly create confusion. You deserve environments that help you grow, not places that keep you trapped emotionally. You deserve a future built on wisdom, instead of desperation. And hear me carefully now. Loneliness should never make you settle for less than what is healthy for your spirit. Too many people tolerate disrespect because they fear being alone. Too many people stay trapped in unhealthy cycles because change feels scary. Too many people remain attached to old pain simply because it feels familiar. But familiar pain is still pain. You must become brave enough to release what no longer aligns with your future. And I know some endings broke your heart deeply. I know there were nights where you questioned your worth because certain people walked away. I know there were moments where rejection made you feel unlovable. But another person's inability to value you does not reduce your worth. Do not build your identity around rejection. You are still valuable. You are still chosen. You are still capable of healing, growing, and loving again. And this next season of your life requires emotional freedom. You cannot move forward while dragging chains from the past behind you. That is why forgiveness matters. Forgiveness does not mean pretending nothing hurt you. Forgiveness means refusing to let pain control your future anymore. Some people continue suffering long after the situation ended because bitterness remains alive inside them. They replay old wounds daily. They relive painful memories constantly. And slowly, resentment steals the peace I wanted them to have. But I want more for you. I want your heart free again. I want your mind peaceful again. I want your spirit light again. And that begins when you trust me enough to release what I am removing from your life. Because I am not taking things away to leave you empty. I am making space for something better. There are healthier relationships ahead. There are wiser opportunities ahead. There are peaceful environments ahead. There are blessings ahead that will not require you to sacrifice your emotional well-being just to keep them. But first, you must stop grieving forever over what I already decided to remove. The chapter ended for a reason. Now, it is time to move forward. Lift your eyes again. Hope again. Trust again. Because your future is not ruined simply because certain things ended. Sometimes, endings are the very thing that make new beginnings possible. And I promise you this, what I prepare for you next will bring greater peace than what you lost behind you. If this message is speaking deeply into your heart today, type, I release what no longer serves my future in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And if these messages continue helping your spirit grow stronger, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this message with someone who needs encouragement today, and if you feel blessed by these words, you can support this ministry through the link below so more hearts can continue receiving hope and peace through these messages. Stay with me until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal why your emotions cannot always be trusted, and how true faith grows even during uncertainty. Listen to me carefully today, because many people are allowing their emotions to control their direction. They make decisions based on temporary feelings instead of lasting wisdom. One moment they feel hopeful, and the next moment they feel defeated. One difficult situation changes their entire mindset. One disappointment convinces them their future is ruined. But feelings were never meant to become your foundation. Emotions can change quickly. Circumstances can change quickly. Opinions can change quickly. But truth remains steady, even when emotions feel unstable. My child, there will be seasons where your feelings try to convince you that I am distant. There will be moments where exhaustion makes you question whether anything is improving. There will be nights where your heart feels heavy and your thoughts become filled with uncertainty. But you must not build your entire life around temporary emotions. Feelings can speak loudly while still being wrong. Fear may tell you that you are alone, yet I am still beside you. Disappointment may tell you nothing. Good is coming, yet blessings are still being prepared. Delay may make you feel forgotten, yet I am still working behind the scenes. That is why faith matters so deeply. Faith continues trusting even when emotions become unstable. Faith continues walking even when clarity feels incomplete. Faith continues hoping even when circumstances look difficult. And I know this is not always easy. You live in a world that constantly encourages emotional reactions. People are taught to follow every feeling immediately. If they feel angry, they react instantly. If they feel discouraged, they quit quickly. If they feel uncertain, they panic immediately. But wisdom requires emotional discipline. Not every emotion deserves control over your decisions. Not every fearful thought deserves agreement. Not every difficult moment means you should give up. Some seasons simply require endurance. I know there are moments where your emotions feel overwhelming. You become tired from carrying pressure silently. You question whether you are strong enough for the future. Sometimes your heart feels discouraged because life is not unfolding the way you expected. But hear me clearly today. Emotions are temporary, but the strength I am building inside you can last forever. You survived emotional storms before. You overcame painful disappointments before. You endured seasons that once seemed impossible before. Do not forget how much resilience already exists inside you. And I need you to understand something important about growth. Mature faith is not built only during easy seasons. Mature faith develops when people continue trusting even while emotions feel uncertain. Anyone can feel hopeful when life is comfortable. Anyone can feel confident when everything goes according to plan. But true strength appears when someone chooses peace during uncertainty. That is what I have been teaching you. There were moments where your plans fell apart because I needed you to depend on me instead of depending only on visible outcomes. There were seasons where answers felt delayed because I was strengthening your patience. There were situations where you felt emotionally stretched because your spirit was growing beyond old limitations. Nothing about your journey has been meaningless. Even your emotional battles have been teaching you something valuable. They taught you how to seek peace instead of panic. They taught you how to pray instead of immediately reacting. They taught you how to slow down before making emotional decisions. These lessons will protect your future more than you realize. Because many people destroy their own peace by making permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. They walk away from healthy opportunities because fear becomes loud. They damage relationships because anger controls their reactions. They abandon purpose because discouragement temporarily overwhelms them. But I want you to become emotionally grounded. Pause before reacting. Pray before deciding. Breathe before assuming the worst. You do not need to rush every decision. Some answers become clearer with time. Some confusion disappears when emotions calm down. Some battles lose power when you stop feeding them with panic. And hear me carefully now. Peace often speaks more quietly than fear. Fear rushes. Fear pressures. Fear overwhelms. But peace guides steadily. That is why you must learn how to recognize my voice beneath emotional noise. I do not lead you through confusion and chaos. I lead through wisdom, clarity, patience, and truth. There are moments ahead where people around you may react emotionally to everything happening in the world. Anxiety will spread quickly. Anger will spread quickly. Panic will influence many decisions. But I'm asking you to remain steady. Do not allow the emotional atmosphere around you to control the condition inside you. Protect your spirit carefully. Spend less time feeding fear. Spend less time replaying worst-case scenarios. Spend less time speaking negatively over your future. And instead, rebuild your faith daily. Speak hope even during difficult moments. Speak peace even during uncertainty. Speak truth even when emotions try to convince you otherwise. Your words matter. Some people unknowingly strengthen their fear by constantly repeating defeat over themselves. They say they are hopeless, forgotten, weak, broken, or incapable, until those words become deeply rooted inside them. But I want you to stop speaking destruction over your future. You are still growing. You are still healing. You are still becoming stronger than you were before. Do not let temporary emotions convince you to abandon permanent purpose. And I know there are moments where you feel emotionally tired of waiting. You wonder whether things will ever truly improve. But one difficult season does not define your entire future. There are still beautiful moments ahead of you. There are still breakthroughs ahead. There are still prayers waiting to be answered. Do not let temporary discouragement steal long-term hope, because your future is bigger than your current emotions. And whenever your heart feels overwhelmed, return to me. Bring me your fears honestly. Bring me your exhaustion honestly. Bring me your uncertainty honestly. You do not have to pretend to be strong all the time. I already know the areas where your heart feels weak, and I will continue strengthening you one step at a time. So, stop letting fear guide your decisions. Stop assuming your emotions always tell the full truth. Stop believing every negative thought that enters your mind. You are not abandoned. You are not defeated. And you are not walking through this season alone. I am still leading you forward, even when emotions try to cloud your vision. If this message is speaking directly into your spirit today, type, "I will walk by faith, not fear," in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And continue watching until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal how peace becomes one of the greatest sources of strength during uncertain seasons. Listen to me carefully today, because many people misunderstand what true strength really is. They believe strength means never crying, never struggling, never feeling pressure, and never becoming tired. They think strong people are those who appear fearless all the time. But real strength is deeper than appearances. True strength is remaining calm when chaos surrounds you. True strength is choosing wisdom when emotions rise. True strength is continuing to trust even when life feels uncertain. And that kind of strength grows through peace. My child, peace is not weakness. Peace is power under control. Peace allows your mind to think clearly when others panic. Peace protects your heart from making destructive decisions during emotional moments. Peace keeps your spirit grounded while fear spreads around you. That is why the enemy works so hard to steal your peace. If he can keep you anxious, distracted, emotionally overwhelmed, and mentally exhausted, he can weaken your ability to hear my direction clearly. Fear clouds judgment. Anxiety drains energy. Panic creates confusion. But peace restores clarity. And I know there are moments lately where your mind has felt heavy. You think about the future constantly. You replay painful situations repeatedly. You carry silent stress nobody else fully understands. Sometimes your thoughts become so loud that rest feels impossible. But I never created you to live trapped in constant anxiety. You were not meant to carry every burden alone. That is why I keep calling you back into stillness. The world teaches people to move faster and faster until they no longer hear their own hearts clearly. Everyone rushes. Everyone reacts quickly. Everyone consumes endless noise every day, and slowly peace disappears from their lives without them realizing it. But peace grows where stillness is protected. There are answers you will not hear while constantly distracted. There is wisdom you will miss while constantly panicking. There is healing that cannot fully happen while your mind never rests. You must learn how to slow down again, breathe deeply again, pray honestly again, sit quietly with me again. Some of the clarity you are desperately searching for will come during moments of stillness, not moments of panic. And hear me carefully now. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the confidence that you are not facing problems alone. There were seasons before where you thought everything would collapse, yet somehow you survived. There were nights where fear told you the future was hopeless, yet you are still standing today. There were moments where anxiety convinced you that you would never recover emotionally, yet healing slowly began anyway. Do not forget how many times I already carried you. Fear predicted disaster many times before, but it was not stronger than my protection over your life. And I will continue carrying you now. But you must stop allowing fear to become the loudest voice inside your mind. Many people spend so much time feeding anxiety that they no longer recognize peace when it appears. They become addicted to stress. They constantly expect something bad to happen. They live emotionally tense every day because they assume disaster is always waiting around the corner. But I want freedom for your heart. I want your mind to rest again. I want your spirit to breathe again. I want your life to stop revolving around fear. And this begins when you stop trying to control everything yourself. Some of your anxiety comes from trying to carry responsibilities that were never meant for your shoulders. You replay situations repeatedly trying to predict outcomes you cannot control. You exhaust yourself mentally by imagining worst-case scenarios before they even happen. But worry does not protect your future. It only steals peace from your present. There are things only I can handle. Release what you cannot control. Release the need to have every answer immediately. Release the pressure to figure everything out alone. Trust grows when control is surrendered. And I know trusting is difficult sometimes because life has disappointed you before. People broke promises. Situations changed unexpectedly. Certain seasons wounded your heart deeply. So now your mind tries to protect itself by expecting pain before it arrives. But constant fear is not protection. It is emotional imprisonment. You cannot fully enjoy life while constantly preparing for disaster. That is why I want you to rebuild your mind with truth instead of fear. Speak peace over your future. Speak hope over your family. Speak life over your situation. Your words shape the atmosphere inside your spirit more than you realize. Some people speak defeat over themselves daily and then wonder why hopelessness grows stronger. They constantly repeat that nothing will improve, nobody cares, and life will always remain painful. But I want you to stop agreeing with despair. You are not hopeless. You are not abandoned. You are not fighting this battle alone. There are still blessings ahead of you. There are still prayers being answered quietly behind the scenes. There are still moments of joy waiting for you in the future. And peace will help you survive the journey between where you are now and where you are going. That is why protecting your peace matters so deeply. Be careful what voices you listen to daily. Be careful what environments you stay connected to. Be careful what thoughts you continuously entertain. Some people drain their own peace by surrounding themselves with constant negativity. They allow gossip, comparison, fear, bitterness, and chaos to fill their minds every day. But peace requires boundaries. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every conflict deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves space in your heart. Protect your spirit wisely. And remember this carefully. Calmness is not weakness. Some of the strongest people remain gentle during pressure. Some of the wisest people remain quiet during chaos. Some of the most powerful decisions are made slowly, peacefully, and prayerfully. You do not need to panic to survive this season. You do not need to live overwhelmed every day. You do not need to carry fear like it is your permanent identity. Because I am still with you. And as long as I remain beside you, peace is still possible even during uncertain times. So when your thoughts become heavy, return to me. When fear grows louder, return to me. When exhaustion overwhelms your spirit, return to me. I will continue giving strength to your heart one day at a time. If this message is speaking deeply into your spirit today, type God's peace is my strength in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And continue staying until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal how spiritual distractions quietly steal purpose, peace, and direction from many people without them even noticing. Listen to me carefully today, because one of the enemy's greatest strategies in this season is not always destruction. Often, it is distraction. If he can keep your attention divided, your spirit exhausted, and your focus consumed by temporary things, he can slowly weaken your purpose without you even realizing what is happening. That is why so many people feel spiritually empty lately. They stay busy all day, but still feel lost inside. They constantly consume noise, but rarely experience peace. They fill their schedules with distractions while their hearts quietly drift farther away from truth. And little by little, their spiritual strength begins fading. My child, not everything stealing your peace is obvious. Some distractions appear harmless at first. Some come disguised as entertainment, comfort, relationships, or endless busyness. But if something consistently pulls your attention away from growth, wisdom, and peace, it becomes dangerous to your spirit. Because what controls your attention eventually influences your direction. If your mind constantly feeds on fear, fear grows stronger. If your mind constantly feeds on comparison, gratitude becomes weaker. If your mind constantly feeds on distractions, your ability to hear my voice clearly becomes smaller. This is why you must become intentional about protecting your focus. The world around you is designed to keep people distracted. Endless opinions, endless entertainment, endless arguments, endless pressure to constantly consume more noise. And while people remain distracted, many never stop long enough to examine the condition of their own hearts. But I am calling you back into awareness. I want you to notice what has been draining your spirit. I want you to recognize what keeps stealing your peace. I want you to pay attention to the habits quietly weakening your emotional strength. Some people spend hours feeding their minds negativity and only minutes rebuilding their spirit. Then they wonder why anxiety feels stronger than peace. But peace does not grow accidentally. Strength does not grow accidentally. Wisdom does not grow accidentally. You become shaped by what you consistently feed your mind every day. That is why you must stop allowing every distraction to enter your heart freely. Not every opportunity deserves your attention. Not every trend deserves your energy. Not every voice deserves influence over your life. Discernment matters deeply in this season. There are distractions that look harmless, but slowly separate people from purpose. Some distractions waste time. Others weaken discipline. Others create emotional confusion. And many people do not realize the damage until they already feel spiritually exhausted. I know there are moments where you feel mentally overwhelmed. Your thoughts race constantly. Your focus becomes scattered. Your spirit feels tired even after resting physically, but part of your exhaustion is coming from overload. You were never meant to absorb endless noise every day without protecting your peace. That is why I keep calling you into stillness. Stillness allows clarity to return. Stillness allows healing to deepen. Stillness allows wisdom to become easier to recognize. Some answers you are searching for cannot be heard while your mind is constantly distracted. And hear me carefully now. Distraction is dangerous because it often feels comfortable. People rarely notice their spiritual drift immediately. It happens slowly, one careless habit at a time, one unnecessary distraction at a time, one compromise at a time. Little by little, prayer becomes less important. Little by little, peace becomes weaker. Little by little, purpose becomes blurry. And eventually people wake up wondering why they feel empty inside. But I do not want that for you. I want your spirit awake. I want your heart sensitive to wisdom. I want your mind strong enough to resist distractions that destroy peace. That is why boundaries matter. You must become brave enough to disconnect from what repeatedly drains your strength. Some conversations only produce negativity. Some environments only increase confusion. Some relationships only distract you from growth. Pay attention to what happens inside your spirit around certain influences. Do you feel stronger or weaker afterward? Do you feel peaceful or anxious afterward? Do you feel closer to wisdom or farther from it afterward? These things matter more than you realize. And I also need you to understand that not every distraction is external. Some distractions live inside your own thoughts. Overthinking can become distraction. Constant worry can become distraction. Living trapped in old pain can become distraction. Some people spend so much time replaying the past that they stop moving toward the future. They relive old conversations. They reopen old wounds. They constantly imagine scenarios that never happen. And slowly, their emotional energy disappears. But I am asking you to stop carrying mental burdens that keep stealing your peace. You cannot fully embrace new seasons while constantly living inside old fears. Release what no longer serves your growth. I know there are moments where letting go feels difficult. Some distractions became familiar to you. Some unhealthy habits became emotional comfort. Some environments felt easier than change. But familiar does not always mean healthy. Growth often requires separation from things that once felt normal. And I promise you this, every distraction you release creates more room for peace, clarity, and purpose to grow inside your life. There are beautiful things ahead of you, but you must remain spiritually alert enough to recognize them when they arrive. Do not allow endless noise to blind you to meaningful moments. Do not allow distractions to steal years from your future. Do not allow temporary comfort to destroy long-term peace. Because your purpose matters too much. You were not created to live emotionally drained every day. You were not created to remain trapped in confusion. You were not created to spend your entire life distracted from what truly matters. I am calling you higher. Protect your focus. Protect your spirit. Protect your peace. Spend more time building your inner strength than feeding unnecessary noise. And remember this carefully. What you repeatedly give your attention to will eventually shape the direction of your life. So choose wisely what you allow into your heart. If this message is speaking directly into your spirit today, type, "I will protect my peace and purpose" in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And continue staying with me until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal why certain closed doors and disappointments were actually preparing you for sudden breakthroughs you never expected. Listen to me carefully today, because there are some doors you are still grieving over that I intentionally closed for your protection. There are opportunities you cried about losing, relationships you begged to keep, and paths you desperately wanted to walk down, yet I allowed them to end because I could see what you could not see. And I know that confused you. You wondered why things suddenly changed. You wondered why people walked away. You wondered why plans fell apart after you prayed so hard for them to succeed. But hear me clearly today. Not every closed door is punishment. Sometimes closed doors are mercy. Sometimes closed doors are protection. Sometimes closed doors are preparation for something greater than what you are trying to hold on to. My child, there are moments where your emotions become attached to things that are not truly aligned with your future. You become comfortable with certain people, certain environments, and certain expectations, even when those things quietly weaken your peace. And because you only see the present moment, you mistake familiarity for destiny. But I see the full picture. I know the future consequences behind paths you cannot fully understand yet. I know the hidden pain attached to some opportunities you wanted. I know which relationships would have eventually distracted you from your purpose. That is why I will sometimes remove things before they destroy your peace completely. And I know letting go hurts. I know rejection wounded your confidence at times. I know disappointment made you question yourself. I know there were nights where you replayed painful endings inside your mind, trying to understand why things unfolded differently than you expected. But not every loss was meant to harm you. Some endings rescued you from years of emotional exhaustion. Some delays protected you from unnecessary pain. Some separations created room for healthier blessings to arrive later. One day you will thank me for certain doors that never opened, because what you wanted in one season would not have brought peace into the next season of your life. And listen carefully now. You cannot fully step into new beginnings while constantly mourning old chapters. Some people remain trapped emotionally because they refuse to release what already ended. They revisit old conversations repeatedly. They romanticize unhealthy situations. They chase people who were never meant to stay permanently in their lives. And while they hold on to the past, they miss the future unfolding in front of them. But I am asking you to trust me enough to move forward. Stop reopening doors I already closed. Stop begging for situations that continuously drained your peace. Stop believing your future ended simply because one chapter closed unexpectedly. Your story is still unfolding. There are still beautiful things ahead of you. There are still healthier relationships ahead. There are still opportunities ahead that will align with your peace instead of destroying it. But first, you must stop defining your worth through rejection. Another person's inability to value you does not decrease your value. A closed opportunity does not cancel your purpose. A painful ending does not mean your future is ruined. Do not build your identity around disappointment. You are more than what hurt you. You are more than what left you. You are more than the mistakes you made during difficult seasons. And I also need you to understand something important. Some doors closed because you outgrew them. There are environments that matched who you used to be, but no longer match who you are becoming. There are conversations that once entertained you, but now lead your spirit tired. There are habits you once tolerated that now disturb your peace. That change is not weakness. That change is growth. Growth often feels uncomfortable because it requires leaving behind familiar things. But familiar things are not always healthy things. And I know there are moments where loneliness tempts you to return to places I already delivered you from. Some people reconnect with old pain simply because healing feels unfamiliar. They return to unhealthy cycles because temporary comfort feels easier than transformation. But comfort without peace is still bondage. I want freedom for your heart. I want clarity for your future. I want your spirit healed enough to recognize healthy things when they finally arrive. That is why certain doors had to close. Some relationships had to end because they were slowly draining your emotional strength. Some opportunities had to disappear because they would have distracted you from purpose. Some habits had to break because they were limiting your growth. And I know you do not always understand my timing immediately. Sometimes you only recognize protection after enough time passes. Sometimes clarity only comes after healing begins. Sometimes you only understand the reason for an ending once you experience the peace that came afterward. Trust me, even before full understanding arrives. You do not need every answer immediately in order to keep moving forward. And hear me carefully now. The closing of one chapter does not mean your life is finished. Too many people lose hope after disappointment because they assume one failure defines their entire future. But your future is bigger than one rejection. Your future is bigger than one painful season. Your future is bigger than one unanswered prayer. There are still doors waiting to open that no person can close. There are still blessings being prepared behind the scenes. There are still moments of joy waiting for you beyond this season of confusion. Do not allow temporary pain to convince you permanent hope is gone. Because I am still leading you forward, and while you focus on what ended, I am already preparing what comes next. There are people I am bringing into your life who will strengthen your peace instead of stealing it. There are opportunities ahead that will align with your purpose instead of distracting you from it. There are blessings coming that will not require you to betray your emotional well-being just to keep them. But you must trust me enough to release the old chapter completely. Stop looking backward constantly. Stop reopening wounds I am trying to heal. Stop carrying grief longer than necessary. The closed door served its purpose. Now it is time to prepare your heart for what is coming next. Because some of your greatest breakthroughs will only appear after you fully release what no longer belongs in your life. If this message is speaking directly into your spirit today, type, "I trust God" with closed doors in the comments below and declare it boldly over your future. And continue staying until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal why sudden breakthroughs often arrive after long seasons of waiting and hidden preparation. Listen to me carefully today. because many people become discouraged during long seasons of waiting without realizing how close they are to sudden change. They look at their current situation and assume nothing is happening. They see delay after delay and begin believing their prayers were ignored. They grow tired emotionally because they expected breakthrough to happen faster. But I need you to understand something deeply today. Some of the greatest shifts in your life will happen suddenly after long periods of hidden preparation. There are seasons where it looks like nothing is moving, yet beneath the surface I am arranging details you cannot see. I am aligning people, healing parts of your heart, closing dangerous doors, and preparing opportunities at the right time. And while you think you are simply waiting, I am building foundations strong enough to support the blessings you asked for. My child, do not mistake silence for absence. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean I stopped working. There were moments before where you thought your situation would never change, yet suddenly a new door opened. Suddenly, the right person appeared. Suddenly, clarity came. Suddenly, peace returned after months of confusion. That is how breakthrough often works. Long periods of preparation, then sudden movement. But many people miss their breakthrough because they become bitter during the waiting season. Instead of preparing their hearts, they feed frustration daily. Instead of growing in wisdom, they grow in negativity. Instead of remaining faithful, they allow disappointment to harden their spirits. Do not let waiting make your heart cold. The season of preparation matters just as much as the season of arrival. I know there are days where you feel tired of hoping. You wonder how much longer you must endure uncertainty. You question whether things will ever truly improve. Sometimes your heart feels exhausted from carrying expectations that have not yet become reality. But hear me carefully now. Your breakthrough is not dependent on human timing. People may overlook you, but I still see you. Opportunities may seem delayed, but I still control timing. Doors may appear closed, but I can open new ones suddenly. Nothing is impossible for me, and I need you to stop believing the lie that your best days are behind you. Some people become trapped in hopelessness because they focus only on what they lost instead of what is still possible ahead. But there are blessings approaching your life that you cannot fully imagine yet. There are relationships I am preparing that will bring peace instead of confusion. There are opportunities I am preparing that will align with your purpose instead of distracting you from it. There are answers coming that will make certain painful seasons finally make sense. But preparation must happen first. And listen carefully to this. Sudden breakthroughs require consistent faithfulness beforehand. Many people want immediate miracles while neglecting private discipline. They want major change without emotional growth. They want blessings without wisdom. But if your spirit is not prepared properly, even good things can become overwhelming. That is why I have been teaching you patience. That is why I have been teaching you discernment. That is why I have been teaching you how to remain peaceful during uncertainty. Because the person you are becoming matters deeply. You are not simply waiting for blessings. You are becoming someone capable of carrying them wisely. And I know there are moments where you feel unnoticed. You continue trying, praying, growing, and healing quietly while wondering if any progress is truly happening. But hidden growth is still real growth. Roots develop underground before fruit becomes visible. Do not despise small progress. Do not ignore quiet transformation. Do not underestimate how much your spirit has already changed during this season. You are stronger than before. You are wiser than before. You are more discerning than before. The battles you survived gave you strength. The disappointments you endured taught you wisdom. The lonely seasons deepened your understanding of peace. Nothing was wasted. Even now, while you feel uncertain, I am preparing things you cannot yet see clearly. And I also want you to understand this. Some breakthroughs will require courage when they arrive. Many people pray for change but become afraid when change finally comes. They become so comfortable with waiting that they struggle to step forward when opportunities finally appear. But I do not want fear to stop you when your season changes. Stay spiritually ready. Stay emotionally open. Stay willing to move when I guide you forward. Because there are moments ahead where things will begin shifting quickly. Doors that seemed impossible may suddenly open. Conversations may suddenly change direction. Answers may suddenly appear after long silence. And when those moments come, remember the lessons you learned during waiting. Remain humble during success. Remain peaceful during transition. Remain grateful during blessing. Do not forget the strength you gained while surviving difficult seasons. And hear me carefully now, breakthrough is not only about external blessings. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will happen internally. There are people who appear successful publicly but remain broken privately. But true breakthrough includes peace of mind, emotional healing, spiritual strength, and wisdom. That is the kind of life I want for you. Not temporary excitement, not shallow success, but deep peace that remains steady even when life changes. And I know there are moments where fear still whispers that nothing will improve. Fear tells you the waiting has been too long. Fear tells you you missed your opportunity. Fear tells you your future is limited. But fear is lying to you. You have not been forgotten. You have not been abandoned. And your story is not over. There are still beautiful chapters waiting ahead of you. The waiting season will not last forever. The confusion will not last forever. The heaviness you feel right now will not last forever. Breakthroughs often arrive after the season that almost convince people to quit. So do not give up now. Keep growing, keep trusting, keep preparing your heart. Because what I have been building behind the scenes is closer than you realize. If this message is speaking deeply into your spirit today, type, "My breakthrough is coming," in God's perfect time, in the comments below, and declare it boldly over your life. And if these messages continue strengthening your faith and bringing peace into your heart, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this message with someone who needs encouragement today, and if you feel led to support this ministry, you can use the link below to help us continue reaching hearts around the world with hope and truth. Stay with me until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal why obedience during difficult seasons becomes the key to walking into greater peace, wisdom, and blessing. Listen to me carefully today, because many people ask for blessings while resisting obedience. They pray for direction, but ignore the wisdom I already placed before them. They ask for peace while continuing choices that destroy their peace. They ask for change while refusing to release the habits, relationships, and mindsets keeping them trapped. But true transformation begins with obedience. My child, obedience is not punishment. Obedience is protection. It is the path that keeps your heart aligned with wisdom even when emotions become unstable. It is what protects you from walking into situations that appear good on the surface, but secretly carry pain underneath. And I know obedience is not always easy. Sometimes I ask you to walk away from what feels familiar. Sometimes I ask you to wait when you want immediate answers. Sometimes I ask you to trust me when the future feels unclear. But every instruction I give you carries purpose. I never guide you toward obedience to harm you. I guide you toward obedience to protect your peace, strengthen your future, and prepare your spirit for greater things ahead. There are moments where your emotions will tempt you to move ahead too quickly. Fear will whisper that waiting means failure. Pride will whisper that you already know best. Frustration will whisper that you should take control instead of trusting the process. But wisdom often requires patience. And I need you to understand this deeply today. Delayed obedience still creates unnecessary pain. Many people recognize the warning signs in their lives, but ignore them because change feels uncomfortable. They stay connected to relationships that repeatedly wound them. They continue habits that drain their peace. They remain in environments that weaken their spirit. Then later they wonder why their hearts feel heavy. But obedience matters because your future matters. There are doors I closed because they would have damaged your peace later. There are people I removed because they were distracting you from purpose. There are delays I allowed because your heart needed preparation first. Trust that I see what you cannot see. My child, obedience is often tested most strongly during uncertain seasons. When life feels confusing, people become tempted to make emotional decisions quickly. They panic, they rush, they follow temporary feelings instead of lasting wisdom. But I am calling you to remain steady. You do not need to panic to survive this season. You do not need to force doors open. You do not need to manipulate situations to create your own breakthrough. What I have prepared for you will arrive through peace, not panic. And hear me carefully now, obedience will sometimes separate you from the crowd. There will be moments where people around you make choices based on fear, pride, anger, or impatience. They may not understand why you choose peace instead of panic. They may not understand why you refuse certain opportunities, relationships, or shortcuts. But do not let human approval become more important than inner peace. Some people lose themselves, trying to fit into environments they were never meant to remain inside. They compromise wisdom just to avoid feeling rejected. They betray their own peace because they fear standing alone. But temporary approval is not worth long-term regret. I would rather see you walk alone in wisdom than surrounded by people who constantly pull you away from truth. And I know there are moments where obedience feels lonely. You look around and wonder why your path seems different from others. Sometimes you feel tired of always choosing patience, while others rush ahead carelessly. But remember this carefully. Not everyone who moves quickly is moving wisely. Some people appear successful publicly, while secretly carrying emotional chaos privately. Some chase opportunities that later become burdens. Some ignore warnings now and experience painful consequences later. But obedience protects your future even when you do not immediately see the reward. That is why I need you to stop viewing obedience as restriction. Obedience is direction. Obedience is wisdom. Obedience is how I guide you away from unnecessary suffering. And I know there are areas in your life where I have already been speaking to your heart quietly. There are habits I have been asking you to release. There are conversations I have been asking you to stop entertaining. There are fears I have been asking you to surrender. Do not ignore those quiet convictions. The small choices matter more than you realize. Your future is shaped through daily decisions. Your peace is shaped through daily discipline. Your strength is shaped through consistent obedience. And listen carefully now. You do not need perfect understanding before taking faithful steps forward. Some people delay obedience because they want every answer first. They want guarantees. They want certainty. They want complete clarity before moving. But faith often requires movement before full understanding arrives. Trust grows when you obey even during uncertainty. I know that can feel difficult sometimes because life has disappointed you before. You fear making mistakes. You fear choosing the wrong direction. You fear the unknown. But you are not walking blindly. I am still guiding you. Even now, while you feel uncertain, I am placing wisdom inside your spirit. I am warning you away from paths that would harm you. I am leading you toward people, environments, and opportunities that will strengthen your future instead of weakening it. Pay attention to peace. Peace is often one of the clearest ways I guide your heart. Fear rushes. Pressure rushes. Confusion rushes. But peace remains steady. That is why you must learn how to pause before making emotional decisions. Some mistakes could be avoided simply by slowing down enough to pray first. And hear this promise clearly today. Obedience always produces fruit eventually. You may not see immediate results. You may not receive instant rewards. But every wise decision plants seeds for future peace. Every time you choose wisdom over impulse, you strengthen your future. Every time you choose peace over panic, you strengthen your future. Every time you choose obedience over temporary comfort, you strengthen your future. Nothing faithful is ever wasted. There are blessings ahead of you that require this season of growth. There are breakthroughs ahead that require emotional maturity. There are opportunities ahead that will flourish because you learned obedience during uncertain seasons. So do not become discouraged when the process feels difficult. Keep walking wisely, keep listening carefully, keep trusting even when the path feels slow. Because obedience now is preparing peace later. And one day you will look back and realize that some of the greatest blessings in your life came from the moments you chose wisdom over emotion. If this message is speaking directly into your spirit today, type "I choose obedience over fear" in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And continue staying until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal how to remain calm, strong, and spiritually grounded even while chaos increases around you. Listen to me carefully today, because the days ahead will test the emotional strength of many people. You will see fear spreading quickly. You will hear constant noise, confusion, anger, and uncertainty flowing through conversations everywhere. Many people will allow panic to control their decisions. They will react emotionally before thinking wisely. They will chase answers desperately because they no longer know where to place their trust. But I am calling you to remain calm in the middle of chaos. My child, calmness is not weakness. Calmness is strength under control. It is the ability to remain steady while pressure rises around you. It is the wisdom to pause before reacting emotionally. It is the discipline to protect your peace even when the world becomes unstable. And I know this will not always feel easy. There will be moments where anxiety tries to enter your thoughts. There will be situations that seem uncertain. There will be days where the pressure around you feels heavy. But you must remember this carefully. Panic never produces wisdom. Fear clouds judgment. Panic weakens discernment. Anxiety drains strength. That is why the enemy constantly tries to keep people emotionally overwhelmed. If he can keep their minds distracted and fearful, they will struggle to hear direction clearly. They will make rushed decisions. They will speak careless words. They will lose peace before the real battle even begins. But I want you to respond differently. I want you to become grounded. I want you to become prayerful. I want you to become emotionally disciplined. Because calmness protects your future more than panic ever will. There were moments before where you thought your situation would destroy you completely, yet somehow peace carried you through. There were nights where fear convinced you that everything was falling apart, yet morning still came. There were seasons where uncertainty surrounded you, yet you survived them one step at a time. Do not forget how many times I already brought you through difficult seasons. Fear predicted disaster many times before, but fear was not stronger than my presence beside you. And I will continue carrying you now, but you must stop allowing the atmosphere around you to determine the condition inside you. Too many people absorb the emotional chaos surrounding them until they become exhausted mentally and spiritually. They consume endless negativity. They replay fearful conversations repeatedly. They spend hours imagining worst-case scenarios. Then they wonder why peace disappears. But peace must be protected intentionally. Protect your thoughts carefully. Protect your spirit carefully. Protect your emotional energy carefully. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every fearful opinion deserves agreement. Not every conflict deserves your response. Some battles are won simply by refusing to feed unnecessary chaos. And hear me carefully now. Your calmness will become a testimony to others. There are people around you who secretly feel lost, overwhelmed, and emotionally exhausted. They are searching for stability, but cannot find it in the world around them. And when they see you remaining peaceful during difficult moments, they will notice something different about your spirit. Your peace will point them toward hope. That is why I have been strengthening you quietly through past battles. The pressure you survived was preparing you for this season. The disappointments you endured taught you endurance. The waiting seasons taught you patience. The emotional battles taught you how to seek peace instead of panic. Nothing was wasted. Even your hardest seasons carried preparation. And I know there are moments where your own mind becomes tired. Sometimes you feel pressure to carry everyone else's burdens while secretly struggling yourself. Sometimes you try so hard to remain strong for others that you forget to rest emotionally. But hear me carefully today. You are not responsible for carrying the entire world on your shoulders. Release what you cannot control. Some situations require prayer more than panic. Some battles require patience more than pressure. Some answers require waiting more than worrying. Do not destroy your own peace, trying to solve everything immediately. There are things only I can handle, and this is why stillness matters so deeply right now. Some people are so addicted to noise that silence feels uncomfortable to them. But silence is often where clarity grows. Stillness is often where wisdom becomes easier to hear. Slow down enough to breathe again. Slow down enough to pray again. Slow down enough to think clearly again. Not every decision needs to happen immediately. Wisdom often grows quietly. And listen carefully to this. Emotional stability is becoming increasingly rare in the world. Many people are controlled entirely by their moods, reactions, and fears. One bad moment destroys their peace completely. One difficult conversation changes their entire attitude. But I want you rooted deeper than temporary emotions. Do not allow every situation to shake your spirit. Do not allow every opinion to disturb your peace. Do not allow temporary problems to steal long-term hope. Your future is still secure in my hands. There are still blessings ahead of you. There are still breakthroughs ahead of you. There are still prayers being answered behind the scenes. Even when circumstances appear uncertain, and I know there are moments where your heart becomes weary from waiting for change. But remember this carefully. Some storms pass slower than expected, yet they still pass. Your difficult season will not last forever. Your emotional exhaustion will not last forever. The confusion surrounding you right now will not last forever. Peace will return more deeply than before. But while you walk through uncertain seasons, you must guard your reactions wisely. Some words spoken in anger create unnecessary wounds. Some decisions made in panic create unnecessary pain. Some fears repeated daily slowly poison the heart. Choose wisdom instead. Pause before reacting. Pray before speaking. Breathe before assuming the worst, because calmness will help protect the future you are praying for. And whenever chaos rises around you, remember this truth. I am still greater than every situation you face. Nothing surprises me. Nothing escapes my sight. Nothing can remove you from my care. You are not abandoned in this season. You are not forgotten in this season. And you are not walking through uncertainty alone. I am still beside you, guiding you one step at a time. If this message is speaking deeply into your spirit today, type, "I will remain calm and trust God," in the comments below, and declare it boldly over your life. And continue staying until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal how your life can become a source of hope, peace, and healing for others who are struggling in darkness around you. Listen to me carefully today, because the peace I have been building inside you was never meant for you alone. The strength you gained through painful seasons carries purpose beyond your own healing. The wisdom you learned through hardship will one day guide someone else through darkness. Nothing you survived was wasted. There are people around you right now who feel emotionally exhausted. Some are smiling publicly while silently falling apart inside. Some are carrying fears they never speak aloud. Some are losing hope because life has wounded them repeatedly. And many of them are searching desperately for someone who carries real peace. That is why your life matters more than you realize. My child, I did not carry you through storms just so you could survive. I carried you through storms so you could become a light for others still trapped in fear. There is something powerful about a person who remains kind after experiencing pain. There is something powerful about a person who remains peaceful during chaos. There is something powerful about a person who continues loving even after disappointment. That kind of strength changes, lives quietly. And I know there were moments where you questioned why your journey felt so difficult. You wondered why certain battles lasted so long. You questioned why you experienced loneliness, rejection, heartbreak, and disappointment. But some of those experiences created compassion inside you that comfort never could have produced. People who have never experienced pain often struggle to understand broken hearts. But you understand suffering differently now. You understand fear differently now. You understand emotional exhaustion differently now. And because of that, your words carry weight. One day you will speak hope into someone else's darkness simply because you survived your own. Never underestimate the power of your example. The way you continue standing through hardship matters. The way you continue choosing peace matters. The way you continue trusting during uncertainty matters. People are watching more than you realize. Some are learning strength by observing how you respond to pressure. Some are learning patience by watching your endurance. Some are finding hope because your survival reminds them not to give up on their own lives. That is why you cannot allow bitterness to take over your heart. Pain can either deepen compassion or harden the soul. Some people become cruel because suffering made them bitter. Others become wiser, gentler, and more understanding because suffering taught them how deeply people need grace. Choose compassion. The world already carries enough anger. The world already carries enough negativity. The world already carries enough hopelessness. Be different. Speak life where others spread fear. Speak encouragement where others spread criticism. Speak peace where others spread panic. You never know how deeply one kind word may impact someone silently struggling. And hear me carefully now, being a light does not mean pretending your life is perfect. Many people think they must hide every weakness in order to inspire others. But often the most powerful testimonies come from honesty. When people see that you faced fear yet continued trusting, they find courage. When they see that you survived painful seasons without losing hope completely, they realize healing may still be possible for them too. Your scars do not disqualify you. Your past does not erase your purpose. Your struggles do not make you less valuable. Sometimes the people who shine brightest are the ones who walk through darkness personally. And I know there are moments where you feel emotionally tired yourself. Sometimes you wonder whether you truly have strength left to help anyone else. Sometimes you feel like you are still healing from your own battles. But listen carefully. Even small acts of kindness carry power. A gentle word matters. A patient response matters. A moment of encouragement matters. A simple reminder that someone is not alone matters. Do not underestimate what love can do through ordinary moments. There are people who crossed your path for a reason. Some need wisdom. Some need encouragement. Some simply need to encounter peace in a world filled with anxiety. And I want your life to reflect hope, not fake perfection, not empty words, but real peace that survives difficult seasons. That is why I have been teaching you endurance privately. The strength growing inside you now will become a source of encouragement later for people who feel like giving up. And hear this clearly today. You do not need a massive platform to make a difference. Some people believe purpose only matters if millions notice it. But changing one life matters deeply too. Encouraging one hurting person matters deeply too. Showing kindness during someone's painful season matters deeply too. Never underestimate the ripple effect of compassion. One conversation can change someone's direction. One act of grace can restore someone's hope. One moment of patience can prevent someone from giving up completely. That is how light spreads. And I know the world around you often feels heavy right now. Fear spreads quickly. Negativity spreads quickly. People become increasingly harsh toward one another. Many hearts are wounded and exhausted. But darkness does not overcome light. Light overcomes darkness. That is why I want you to protect the peace inside you carefully. You cannot pour hope into others while constantly feeding your own spirit fear and negativity. Spend time rebuilding your heart too. Spend time resting emotionally too. Spend time reconnecting with peace too. You do not have to carry everyone's burdens alone. I am still your strength. I am still your peace. I am still your refuge. And as I continue healing you, I will also use your story to help others heal. The tears you cried were not meaningless. The battles you survived were not meaningless. The waiting seasons were not meaningless. Everything is becoming part of a greater testimony. One day you will look back and realize that some of the hardest moments of your life prepared you to become a source of hope for people still trapped in darkness. So keep your heart soft. Keep your spirit peaceful. Keep your words full of life, because your light matters more than you realize. And there are people waiting to encounter hope through the strength I built inside you. If this message is speaking deeply into your spirit today, type, "I will be a light for others," in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And continue staying until the end of this journey, because the next message may reveal how to keep trusting during uncertainty and why your future is still filled with hope, even when life feels unclear. Listen to me carefully today, because uncertainty has a way of revealing what people truly place their trust in. When life becomes unclear, many hearts become afraid. People panic when they cannot predict the future. They become anxious when plans suddenly change. They grow restless when answers do not come quickly. But I do not want uncertainty to control your life. My child, uncertainty does not mean I have lost control. Even when you cannot see the full path ahead, I still see every step clearly. Even when situations confuse you, nothing about your future confuses me. Even when doors close unexpectedly or plans shift suddenly, I remain fully aware of where your life is moving. That is why you must learn to trust me, even when understanding feels incomplete. I know this is difficult sometimes. You want clear answers. You want immediate direction. You want certainty before taking the next step. But faith often grows strongest when you continue moving forward without seeing the entire picture. There were moments before where you feared the unknown, yet later you realized those very moments were guiding you toward growth. There were seasons where unanswered questions frustrated you, yet later you understood why timing mattered. There were painful situations you thought would destroy your future, yet they eventually became part of the wisdom shaping your life today. Nothing was wasted. Even uncertainty carried purpose. And hear me carefully now. Some of the greatest blessings in your life arrived through unexpected paths. You planned one direction, but I redirected you towards something better. You mourned certain closed doors, but later discovered they protected your peace. You feared some changes, but those changes created growth you desperately needed. That is why you cannot judge your entire future based only on your current emotions. Right now, you may not fully understand why certain things are unfolding the way they are. You may feel frustrated by delays. You may feel confused by unexpected endings. You may feel tired from carrying unanswered questions. But do not let temporary uncertainty convince you permanent hope is gone. Your story is still unfolding. There are things happening behind the scenes that you cannot yet see clearly. I am arranging connections, protecting you from hidden dangers, strengthening your spirit, and preparing opportunities at the right time. And I know waiting for clarity can feel emotionally exhausting. Your mind keeps trying to predict outcomes. Your thoughts replay possibilities constantly. Sometimes fear whispers that nothing good will happen. But fear does not know your future. I do. And I need you to stop feeding worst-case scenarios every day. Some people become so consumed by fear of what could go wrong that they stop appreciating what is still possible. They allow anxiety to steal their joy before problems even arrive. They spend so much time preparing emotionally for disaster that they forget how many times I already carried them through previous battles. Do not forget your history with me. You survived moments you thought would break you. You overcame seasons you thought would never end. You found strength during nights you thought you would completely collapse emotionally. That same strength is still with you now. You are not entering the future alone. And listen carefully to this. Uncertainty is often where trust becomes deeper. Anyone can feel confident when every answer is visible. Anyone can feel peaceful when life feels predictable. But deeper faith grows when someone continues trusting despite unanswered questions. That is what I have been teaching you. The waiting season taught you patience. The painful season taught you endurance. The uncertain season taught you dependence on peace instead of control. These lessons matter more than you realize, because many people become emotionally destroyed trying to control every detail of life. They fear uncertainty so much that they rush into wrong decisions simply to escape discomfort. They settle for unhealthy relationships, unhealthy environments, and unhealthy choices because temporary certainty feels safer than patient trust. But quick answers are not always wise answers. I would rather see you wait in peace than rush into pain. And I know there are moments where your heart feels tired from carrying uncertainty quietly. You smile around others while privately wondering how things will work out. You encourage others while silently fighting your own fears. But you do not have to carry those burdens alone. Bring your fears to me honestly. Bring your questions to me honestly. Bring your exhaustion to me honestly. I already know the thoughts you hide from others. And I am not disappointed by your weakness. I simply want you to stop fighting every battle with your own strength. Trust grows when control is surrendered. You do not need to know every detail about tomorrow in order to experience peace today. That is why I keep calling you back into stillness. Slow down enough to breathe. Slow down enough to pray. Slow down enough to recognize how many times I already protected you before. Your future is not as hopeless as fear keeps trying to convince you. There are still blessings ahead of you. There are still breakthroughs ahead of you. There are still beautiful moments waiting to unfold at the right time. Some prayers are closer to being answered than you realize. And hear this promise clearly today. Uncertainty will not last forever. Clarity will come. Direction will come. Peace will come. But while you walk through uncertain seasons, do not allow fear to become your guide. Choose peace instead. Choose patience instead. Choose trust instead, because I am still leading you, even when the path feels unclear. Nothing about your future surprises me. Nothing about your life is beyond my ability to restore. Nothing about your current situation is too difficult for me to transform. And one day you will look back and realize that even uncertain seasons were carrying hidden preparation for blessings you could not yet understand. So keep moving forward. Keep trusting. Keep believing that hope is still alive. Because your story is not ending in confusion, I'm still writing beautiful chapters ahead for your life. If this message is speaking deeply into your spirit today, type, "I will trust God, even in uncertainty," in the comments below and declare it boldly over your future. And continue staying until the very end of this journey, because the final message may reveal why the season ahead is not the end of your story, but the beginning of something greater than you imagined. Listen to me carefully today, because what you are walking toward is not the end of your story. The pressure, the waiting, the confusion, the painful seasons, and the battles you survived were not meant to destroy you. They were preparing you for a new season that is closer than you realize. Many people look at difficult seasons and assume everything is falling apart. But sometimes things must be shaken before new foundations can be built. Sometimes old chapters must close before greater ones can begin. Sometimes the life you prayed for can only appear after the version of you trapped in fear finally learns how to trust again. My child, you are not who you used to be. The battles changed you. The waiting changed you. The heartbreak changed you. The prayers cried through tears changed you. And even though some of those seasons felt painful, they were also shaping strength inside your spirit that comfort alone never could have produced. You have become wiser. You have become more discerning. You have become more aware of what truly matters. Things that once distracted you no longer satisfy your heart the same way. Conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. Relationships that once felt necessary no longer carry the same hold over your spirit. That is growth. Do not be afraid of the changes happening inside you. I have been teaching you to value peace more deeply than approval. I have been teaching you to seek wisdom more than temporary comfort. I have been teaching you to depend on truth instead of emotions. And now you are standing at the edge of a new beginning. I know there were moments where you almost gave up. There were nights where your thoughts became so heavy that you questioned whether life would ever truly improve. There were seasons where disappointment surrounded you so strongly that hope felt difficult to hold on to. But you kept moving forward. Even when your heart felt tired, you kept going. Even when fear whispered lies into your thoughts, you kept standing. Even when answers felt delayed, you kept searching for peace. And that faithfulness matters more than you realize, because hidden strength has been growing inside you this entire time. And hear me carefully now. The next season of your life cannot be entered while carrying the same fear that controlled your past. You must let go of hopelessness. You must let go of bitterness. You must let go of the belief that your future will always look like your painful seasons behind you. Because I am doing something new. There are doors ahead that will open suddenly. There are people ahead who will strengthen your peace instead of draining it. There are opportunities ahead that will align with your purpose instead of distracting you from it. But this new season requires trust. You cannot carry old fear into new blessings. You cannot carry old wounds into healthy relationships without allowing healing to continue. You cannot carry constant negativity into a future filled with peace. That is why I have been teaching you how to release what no longer belongs in your life. Some things had to end so healthier things could begin. Some people had to leave so your spirit could heal properly. Some delays had to happen so wisdom could develop inside you first. Nothing was wasted. Even your hardest seasons carried preparation. And I know there are still moments where uncertainty tries to scare you. You wonder what the future holds. You wonder whether you are truly ready for what comes next. Sometimes fear whispers that you will fail again, hurt again, or lose again. But fear is not your future. I did not bring you this far just to abandon you now. The same peace that carried you through previous battles will continue carrying you forward. The same strength that helped you survive painful seasons still lives inside you. The same wisdom you gained through hardship will protect your future in ways you cannot yet fully understand. And listen carefully to this. The new season ahead is not only about external blessings. Yes, there will be opportunities. Yes, there will be breakthroughs. Yes, there will be moments of joy and restoration. But the greatest transformation is happening inside you. You are learning how to remain peaceful during uncertainty. You are learning how to trust without controlling everything. You are learning how to value truth over temporary emotions. That inner transformation matters deeply, because external success without inner peace still leaves people empty. But I want your future built on strong foundations. I want your life rooted in wisdom. I want your heart healed enough to fully receive the blessings ahead of you. And there are still beautiful things waiting for you. There are prayers that will be answered at the right time. There are moments of healing that will surprise you. There are days ahead where the heaviness you once carried will finally begin lifting. Do not lose hope now. The season ahead is not punishment. The season ahead is not abandonment. The season ahead is preparation for greater peace, deeper wisdom, and stronger faith. And when you look back one day, you will realize that the battles you once feared were actually shaping you into someone stronger than you imagined possible. You will realize the waiting taught you patience. You will realize the heartbreak taught you discernment. You will realize the lonely seasons taught you how to depend on peace instead of people. Everything carried purpose, so lift your head again, breathe deeply again, hope again. Because your story is not ending in fear. A new season is beginning. Walk into it with peace. Walk into it with wisdom. Walk into it with faith instead of fear. And remember this promise clearly today. No matter what changes around you, I will continue walking beside you through every chapter ahead. You are not forgotten, you are not abandoned, and you are not alone. The best chapters of your story are still being written. If this final message of the journey spoke deeply into your spirit today, type, "I am ready for my new season," in the comments below and declare it boldly over your life. And if these messages strengthened your faith, brought peace into your heart, and helped guide you through this season, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this message with someone who needs encouragement today. And if you feel blessed by these words and want to help this ministry continue reaching more hearts around the world, you can support through the link below. Stay close to peace, stay close to wisdom, and never forget that even during uncertain seasons, you are still deeply loved, guided, and protected.